Hi friends, welcome back to the Big D Coins channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the decade of 1930s as it relates to the wheat penny. Now 1930s, certainly not as exciting as 1940s, which is why I make many more videos about the 1940s. 1944 saw the highest mintage in the entire wheat penny series. At 1.4 billion of them were produced. 1945 also saw over a billion. Then, of course, 1943, probably my favorite penny out there by far, the steel cent, in which there are 684 million made at the Philadelphia Mint that were made out of steel that was coated in zinc. So the steel penny, popular in the 1940s. The 1930s, however, though, went kind of the opposite direction. In 1931, at the San Francisco Mint, had the second lowest mintage of the entire wheat penny series. In 1931 S, there were only 866,000 of those made. So we'll talk a little bit about those. As you can imagine, with that very low mintage also comes very high values. Now 1931 S, only behind the famous 1909 VDB cent, which had the engraver's initials on it in 1909 before they were removed because they considered that to be kind of solicitation of business for the engraver to have his initials on there. So they removed that 1909 SVDB cent, so that's why it became one of the most rarest of the Lincoln cents out there. However, 1931 S, just a plain old San Francisco Mint penny. They just didn't make too many of them. Now, before we get into the details of these 1930 coins, wanted to slide them out and look at this coin right here. Now, I realize often on the channel I talk about the different designations that your coin can have. It can have a brown designation, it can have a red-brown designation, or it can have a red designation. For it to be worth a lot of money, it's going to have that red designation. So that's on the PCGS, you might see it abbreviated RD. So if you're looking up that 1931 San Francisco Mint penny that's super rare, the full title of it will be 1931-S 1C, 1 cent, and then RD parentheses regular strike. So that indicates that it's a 1931 San Francisco Mint 1 cent coin that has the red coloring to it, just a regular business class strike coin. It's not a proof coin or a matte finish or some other type of fancier finish. So this coin is what we're looking at right here. I believe this would accomplish that RD designation. For it to get a RD designation, it's going to have greater than 95% of the original red surfaces remaining on the coin. If the coin has between 5 and 95, it'll get that red-brown, and if it has less than 5, it'll just get that brown. Now, the coins I've got in this video that we're going to be talking about from 1930s, unfortunately have 0% of the original red left to it. Now, I picked this coin in the back. It's a San Francisco Mint coin, but is from prior to 1983, so that means it's a mostly copper coin. Some of the more modern ones that you'll see definitely have a lot of red coloring to them. However, they're not a mostly copper coin. They're just a copper coating over a mostly zinc core to them. So that 1970 copper coin right here, that's almost copper all the way through. Now we'll slide that 1970 over there. I just wanted to give you a example of what that red designation would look like, because that's often discussed on this channel and I just forget to show you what it would actually look like. So back to the 1930s. Now let's talk about the mintages. Obviously 1931 S is very low minted coin because we've been talking about it so much already thus far in the video. 1937, the coin I've got right here, is the second highest mintage of the entire 1930s wheat pennies. There are 309,170,000 of these produced. There are 309 million the previous year at the Philadelphia Mint that were also produced, but 309,632,000. Now, if yours does not have a mint mark on it, so if yours is missing a mint mark, that would normally be placed right there. That's a question that comes up rather frequently by people who find some old coins and expect to see mint marks on all of them. Now, the Philadelphia Mint pennies do not have mint marks on them. with the exception of 2017, which will have the P mint mark on it to commemorate the 225th anniversary. So it's normal if your coin does not have a mint mark on it. For instance, this one right here, there are 309 million made without mint marks, only 50 million made at the Denver, and only 34 million made at the San Francisco for 1937 that would have a mint mark to it. Now let's get back to that real rare one, that 1931S. So 1931S is the second lowest mintage in the entire Lincoln cent series. Wow, so that does extend beyond the wheat penny, so which makes sense. Once they converted over to the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, they never really looked back as far as the low mintage coins goes. The mintage of the 1931S Lincoln cent was revealed soon after they were struck. So that is good news if you were around in 1932 and paying attention to coin collecting. It's bad news for everyone else because those who knew about the low mintage hoarded those coins instantly. Consequently, since the 1930s, the cent became very scarce in circulation. In fact, during that time, some collectors reported finding 1909 VDB Lincoln cent in circulations, but could not track down a 1931 San Francisco mint. One of the very cool tools that PCGS has on their price guide, once you look up a specific coin, they have a rarity and survival estimate, which I do really enjoy looking at. So the rarity and survival for 1965, mint state 65 or better for this real rare 1931S is just 2,750 of them that are expected to have survived at a mint state 65 or better. Looking at the actual prices for these coins that PCGS has graded, they don't have any graded a mint state 67. The highest graded one they have is a mint state 66, in which has a price guide of $2,400. Now, for a frame of reference, the pricing goes, the value guide, the numeral kind of value association grading guide, grading is what I'm looking to say, goes all the way up until 70. So mint state 66 indicates that there could theoretically be mint state 67, 68, 69, and a mint state 70 still out there. If you found a mint state 70, you would hit an absolute home run, considering that mint state 66 is the highest that PCGS has ever graded for this 1931 San Francisco mint coin. And a mint state 66 has a price guide of $2,400, mint state 65, $550, mint state 64, $275. Mint state 64 is the highest number that PCGS has actually graded for that 1931, in which there have been 1,522 of those graded. So PCGS has graded quite a lot of mint state 64s, but they're still worth a decent amount of money. Now, the most rare error coin out there for the 1930s, for the pennies that we're talking about right here, is the 1936 1 cent double die obverse type 1 that has that RD designation. Now, double die obverses are a little bit less exciting for me to talk about here on the channel, just because they are harder to describe. But this one, you'll have to look up to see where the exact doubling occurs, but it has a very low rarity and survival estimate. PCGS has only expects that 27, that's right, just 2 digits, 27, have survived at a mint state 65 or better. So that's all I've got for today. To summarize what we talked about the very high mintage of 1937 and 1936. We talked about the very, very low mintage of 1931S, which some people have reported harder to find than the 1909 VDB. We also talked about the 1936 double die obverse, which has a PCGS price guide for mint state 67 at 45 grand. They have only graded one of those ever in the entire company's history. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Best of luck coin collecting out there. Take care and have a great day. Enjoy.